On this week's episode, teenagers are dumping trash in the ocean, teenagers are giving FWC a very hard time, and teenagers are giving us the finger. Hello and welcome everybody. I'm Captain Douglas Meyer. Just call me Doug. That's cool. As everybody knows, I run the Motor Yacht Renaissance. We're getting ready to do the annual owner trip while the boat's for sale. So maybe we'll get some video of that underway. That's coming in a few weeks. This episode, listen, what we got going here is I'm going to basically talk about teenagers running boats. And why am I saying that on a yacht cruise show? Is because it really does come down to entry-level crew running the tenders. I'm going to get into that a little later. But let's go ahead and let's get right into it. Let's go. We all know about, unless you've been on vacation in Alaska, about these kids at the Boca Bash that went out in the ocean and dumped trash in the ocean and actually had a grand old time. Here's a little bit of the video. You can see what they're doing. And also, of course, one of these, our future leaders of the United States is hamming it up for the camera. They were caught, and they're facing $50,000 worth of fines. How big was this? This was huge. It actually made national news. Take a look at this.
Tonight, two Florida teens who turned themselves into police are cooperating with investigators after viral videos showing them dumping trash into the Atlantic Ocean generated outrage around the world.
I'm not gonna harp on this because it's been well covered in social media and the news. But I will say one thing: the reason they did that, and they said this on social media, was this was better than getting a driving while intoxicated ticket, trash ticket. So, and they show very little remorse. I'll talk about who do I think is really the fault here on this. But before I do, don't forget, we're going to be talking about center consoles today, but if your boat's big enough, you really should check out Elite AC. I mean, these guys really nail it. They really do a great job. And some of these kind of center consoles do have air conditioning. And then guess what? When you're ready to move up from that center console, check out Hargrave Custom Yachts. Your captain, your crew, your anybody, your boss is saying, hey, I think we need a new boat. Just go check out Hargrave. Actually, you can talk to me, you can talk to anybody in the office. We're very friendly over there. Okay, moving along. You think after all this national media attention that teenagers in little boats would probably get the hint, but they're stupid. You guys really, you have to understand, and I'm a father, anybody under the age of 19 and pushing it to 20, they're brain damaged. It's not their fault. Their brains are not fully formed yet, and it's our job as parents to keep these kids alive until they get smart enough. But apparently here's a couple that weren't that smart. I'm not going to mention names, but literally a week after the Boca Bash thing, another smaller boat with a couple of 2-3 teenagers on board was out in the ocean, and they ran over a professional yacht captain's lines to the point where the lines got tangled up in the captain's prop. Now, they put up a fuss. I'm not going to run the video, but here's a picture of how the teenagers responded to this accident, whatever you want to call it. Yes, that's the national sign for I'm sorry. Now, it was reported FWC. FWC responded, and then the kids decided to make a run for it. Okay, they were eventually caught, and I don't know the outcome. Maybe somebody can tell me. But again, more children in boats that shouldn't really be in boats. Do I need to remind everybody about, in 2015, two 14-year-olds left the coast of Florida out in the ocean, never came back. They were in like a 21 or 22-foot boat, just disappeared.
Michael Kelly, the report makes it clear a weather-related event, not a problem with the motor, caused the boat Austin and Perry were in to capsize. Experts determined the boat was actually running until the motor went underwater. Now, you'll remember in March of 2016, Austin and Perry's boat was recovered off the coast of Bermuda.
We have to protect our children. I mean, we have to. That was a tragedy that to this day they don't know. Perry and Austin, Perry Cohen and Austin Stefanos Went out fishing one day, 14 years old, never came back. I blame the parents. Like I said, anyone under the age of 20 these days has brain damage. Their brains are not fully functioning yet. I as a child, I ran around Barnegat Bay in a 13-foot whaler. Thank God I'm alive, okay? But Barnegat Bay is not South Florida with all the other boats. And then mix in alcohol with this. It is definitely something that is going to lead to disaster. We as parents need to take care of our children. Now, yacht captains need to keep an eye out for this too. All right. Instead of getting irate with the kids because they're on talk. You want to talk about being irate? This is what we're dealing with in South Florida. Here are a bunch of kids that pulled up to an island and started drinking and then throwing the cans into the island. And this is how a teenager running a boat after drinking is talking to the cop.
Just gotta do something about it within 30 days, right?
Yep. When's the court date? I need to know.
I believe it was October 24th. Yep.
All right, great. My fucking birthday. You guys are great. Love it.
Again, you can reschedule if you need to.
Yep, I fucking will. This is my goddamn birthday. You guys want to fucking send me court. I hope the worst happens to you. I pray to God that the worst happens to you. I hope the worst happens to you. Shut the fuck up. Don't tell me what to do. Give my citation. Go home and fucking fuck your lazy butt. Shut the fuck up. You're a never respect law enforcement ever again. Every fish I'm catching is undersized now. I hope you guys know that. Owen Austin, undersized fish. Catch it.
If you want to go to jail for an undersized fish, that's up to you.
Hey, take me to jail then, goddammit. I don't give a fuck.
Hey, don't stand there if you don't mind.
Hey, let me know when the divorce papers are filed. I will f your wife so fast, son.
Again, as yacht captains, as professional crew, we don't need to trash these kids. We need to keep an eye out for them, make sure that they're going to be alive at the end of the day. If you're running a 100-foot or 80-foot yacht in the ICW and you see erratic behavior, it is your job to report it to FWC because, frankly, you could be saving a life. It's that simple. These kids are out there, they're drinking, okay? They're operating equipment that they should not be operating at all. I don't care. A 15-year-old, 18, 17-year-old should not be running a 40-foot center console with trips on the back, all right, with 10 other of his friends. This always ends up in disaster sooner or later. And I get it. Oh, he's been boating since he was, 10. Great, so he can handle a boat. It's his poor judgment is the problem, okay? Poor judgment, not boat handling. Okay, and by the way, what is the number 2 cause of boating fatalities? Alcohol. The first, by the way, is unknown. That means a boat left, never came back. We don't know. The number 2 one is alcohol. Let's do this. Let's give kids a $300,000 tender. Let's say you're going to be good to go. Let them load it up with 10 of their friends that they've gotten alcohol, and now you got a 15-year-old or 16-year-old driving a 300-foot, 40-foot tender drinking. Not good. Okay? By the way, number 3 is hazardous weather, and I did just talk about those other kids. So, listen, we as professional mariners need to keep an eye out, and I don't think anyone should feel guilty at all for reporting any of these situations that you feel is unsafe. I'd rather be embarrassed and have the cop go over to the boat and check it out and go, everything's fine, than see those kids leaving the inlet and me saying, oh, wow, they disappeared. I could have done something about that. So as professional crew, please keep that in mind. Before we continue to yacht tenders, I want to remind everybody that these kids should go to MPT. I mean, that's a no-brainer. You can get an MPT at any age, I'm pretty sure, and even if you can't get the certificate for training. So, remember, MPT is one school, it's unlimited possibilities. And when you do see these kids out there, use social media to get the word out. I mean, that seems to be very effective these days. And one way to do that is to use Marine Data Solutions because they do provide the internet. You could literally be on your boat and then zim, zam, zoom. It's out on the internet, and maybe that'll help. Internet definitely helped with these guys dumping the trash. All right, it's a good tool. Okay. Okay, before we get into who should be driving your tender, always remember marine fluid analysis. You guys are doing a lot of transits right now this time of year. Always get your engine checked. It's really cheap compared to spending $250,000, $300,000 for a new engine. Look, who should be driving your tender? I mean, I'll be the first one to tell you, I've messed up in the past. I had someone who I thought was extremely qualified, licensed, and you do the question at the interview, can you drive a tender? Oh yeah, I can drive single, twin, blah, 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 blah. We were in Rose Island. We were in Nassau going to Rose Island, and I said, I'm not going to put the tender in tow because it's very short. I said, I want you to follow me. I actually sat down on the plotter and I said, look, this is where the reef area is, this is where this is, and this is where we're going. I did like a whole let's do a trip plan. And okay, yeah. And she was like, okay, I got it. And she was very happy to be doing this. And then I left Nassau. I went up and around North Side. And as I look out the bridge wing, she's cutting across the reef. And it's probably about 2 feet of water there. To say the least, I was a little upset when she showed up. And she was totally oblivious to why I was upset. And I told her, I said, look, I told you stay behind Renaissance. I said, if you stay behind the big boat, there's no chance of you running aground in the little boat. It's that simple. Oh, well, no. I said, do you realize that you crossed a reef? It was 2 feet deep. If it was low tide, you wouldn't be, we wouldn't have outdrives anymore. Totally oblivious to that reef. She said, I saw the island. I just headed for it. Why am I telling you this story? A license doesn't mean shit. Okay, I've seen a lot of job interviews or job postings. Stewardess needed. Can you drive a tender? Girls will go, the stewardesses, which are great. They'll be like, yeah, I can drive a tender. But you have to understand if the people driving your tender are driving a tender or is a tender driving them. There's a big difference. When the tender is driving the crew, that means that they are reacting to situations that come up on the boat. The way it maneuvers, where it's going. If they're driving the boat, it means they're controlling the boat and it's going where they want it to go. The other way, they're just reacting to where the boat wants to go. Is that a big deal? Kind of is. So I highly recommend that you do check rides, and I've done these ever since. Okay, you can drive the tender. Let's go out. Let's show me. Okay, show me how you drive a tender. Show me how to use the chart plotter, because that was my old mate's big problem. She's like, well, I didn't know how to do the zoom thing. You're a licensed captain, you don't know how to use a chart plotter. But anyway, show me how to use the chart plotter. Show me how to tilt the engines up. Show me how to dock the boat with one engine outboard. Okay, show me what you do when you stow the boat ready for towing. Show me all this stuff. And you do a check ride, and you've got to sign them off on it, okay? As a matter of fact, back to the kids, the teenagers, parents should do this too. Parents should sign off on a boat with the kids and not just go, okay, you've been boating since you were 9, you're good to go, all right? But let's face it, some of these entry-level crew are just a few years older than a teenager. They are in the learning stage, and you need to make sure whoever you put on the tender, when it's a $500, $700 million asset, is qualified to run it. If they're not, you need to find somebody who's qualified to run it, and then you probably have to pay them more money to do it. That's how it works. If you're paying a deckhand to run the tender and you're giving him deckhand wages and he bangs it up, you can't complain, all right? You can't complain. These tenders are not the little Novaranias that we used to run around in. These tenders are $500,000 machines that could do a lot of damage. So, in closing, a check ride and training is almost required in modern tenders for yachts, and please don't overlook that. You're going to save yourself a lot of money. Hey, how about being on charter when you lose your outdrives, day 2 of the charter? How much is that going to cost you? I've never lost outdrives, but I have had a tender with bad fuel, and it cost in the neighborhood of $18,000 to finish the charter because I had to rent a boat. All right. Take that $18,000, divide it by 12, and give it to somebody a little bit more qualified to run it. Anyway, I'm Doug. That's Yacht Industry News. That's bottom line. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're coming to a season close soon. So in the meantime, everybody just stay safe out there, please.